Hey guys, this is Doctor McFarland, and in this video we're going to go over my HX Stomp and Boss MS3 based pedal board. Now all this is sitting on a Trace 3.1 pedal board from Rockboard, and it's all powered by the True Tone CS6 on the bottom. So if you have any questions, feel free to chime in and ask them in the chat. I am using Melon app, which is a desktop-based or browser-based live streaming software. And so any chat or question that you ask, I can highlight on the screen. Unfortunately, there's not a multiple cam option with Melon, at least not yet anyway. So if you want to see me, I can turn the camera, maybe. Oh wait, here I am. Hi, I'm right here. So I'm here, but I'm going to turn it back here so you can see the board, and I probably need to plug in my phone so the phone doesn't die. Hopefully I have this working. I didn't think about that part. But once I get this set up, we'll be able to talk over the pedal board and show you a few different things that I'll have to do with it. Let's turn this way. Let's move that like so. All right, that looks pretty good. So let's go over the main question that I'm sure most people will have is, if you're a headrest guy, if you like, modeling, then why do you have a pedal board? Well, I saw all these Wampler pedals come out like, early last year in 2021. Maybe they came out in 2020. I can't remember, but I know the Tumnus has been out for a while. The Bell has been out maybe a year or two. Then the Ratsbane is pretty new. It literally just came out, I feel like last year. So when it came out, I felt like it was a good time to just go ahead and try out some of these pedals that I haven't gotten a chance to really play through a lot, because I have been using digital modeling for such a long time, and they're small. Brian Wampler is a genius pedal maker, so he makes great stuff. And then I saw the Pantheon come out, and I thought it was another good opportunity to just kind of check out what that is, and if I don't like it, I can always resell it for a decent amount. And it is what it is. So let's go over some of the signal flow and the routing that I have here on the board. My approach is slightly different from what I've seen other YouTubers with the same Boss MS3 and HX Stomp setup is, but I think it makes sense for what I want it to do. So essentially, the HX Stomp is the amplifier. Okay, if we go in here and click on View, I can use this top knob right here to go back and forth between the different blocks that are in the signal flow. Okay, so we basically have main input, and then we have no block, and then I have an effects loop left. So this is telling the HX Stomp that I have something plugged in to the send and return here on the side. And then we'll talk about what's going into that effects loop here in a second, but let's keep going through the signal chain of the HX Stomp. Next we have our amplifier block. Right now there's a busy one channel 2, so I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be based off of. Well, we can go through here. We can click through all kinds of stuff. And let's actually click on this. And I feel like this is a bass. Yeah, it's on bass for some reason. I think it changed from earlier. And we have a lot of stuff that's blocked out here. Let's go back one more. Okay, I think I know what it is. Let's just stick with the Supro right now. Basically what's happening is I have met the threshold of the DSP on the HX Stomp. And even though I have all these blocks filled up, this one is a cross, this one's a dual delay, this one's a dynamic plate, and then a dynamic room. So these last 4 blocks take up a lot of DSP. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of some of these here, just for demonstration purposes. Let's change the dual delay to a simple delay. We don't need the dynamic plate. Okay, so something like that. And so now we just have a tremolo, a delay, and a reverb, and then we have an amp block. And now I should be able to dial in whatever amp I want. And I kind of like, here lately I've been really liking the Archetype Clean. It's based off of a PRS amplifier, which I think is really cool. So we're going to play a little bit here. Let's turn off the delay. And let's look at our settings on the amp. Let's turn the treble down. Presence way down. Maybe turn the sag up just a bit. Bias. And that should be pretty good. So to save this, we're going to hit the view and the action at the same time. Then hit that button to save. Okay. So preset 40C is my dock main rig. And I could make this talk to each other to the MS3 to whatever, basically whatever. Let me save this real fast. This is also called dock main rig on the Boss MS3. So I have 2 units with the same, named preset. So if I go to a different preset though, I can make it to where each preset changes to a different preset on the HX Stomp, which I'm just trying to keep this really, really simple and mainly for studio use. So I don't really worry about tons of switching or anything right now. But if you're watching, feel free to leave a comment in the chat and let me know what you think so far of the pedal board or any other questions at all. So I'm just kind of talking and giving a slight overview here. All right, so if I go back to preset 1, which is dock main rig, I hit the memory manual. And from there, I essentially have these 3 pedals right here in the 1, 2, and 3 loops of the Boss MS3. So I turn each of the 3 pedals on, and then I just hit the loop that I want to turn on. Okay. Now, even though this says 1, 2, and 3 right here, I made it go backwards. So it's kind of like I'm going input on this side, and then the signal flow is going this way through the HX Stomp and then out to the PA or FR speaker or my audio interface. Okay. So here's my clean sound. Let me turn that up just a little bit. Okay. So we got loop 1, 2, and 3, even though this is numbered differently here. So this is loop 1, loop 2, and loop 3. And essentially it goes from low gain to high gain. And then the Pantheon is a recent purchase. And I did have another pedal right here, but I just wanted to see what it looked like with the Pantheon in this spot. And it fits really well. And you can use a cable like this, which is a MIDI cable. You can use that to control the Pantheon with MIDI. And I may make a separate video just showing that functionality. But that'll probably be a little bit later this week or early next week. So if you're not subscribed and you want a video like that, be sure to subscribe down below and click the bell. So we got 3 loops and we got each pedal in a loop. And since the Pantheon is, the 4th pedal, I don't have any extra loops on here. So what I essentially did was send the out of the MS3 to the output of the Pantheon, and then the output of the Pantheon to the return over here of the effects loop. So let's talk about the effects loop real fast and how I'm incorporating all these pedals and the MS3 into the HX Stomp. So since I have the effects loop block here, I'm essentially sending a signal out of the Stomp to the input of the MS3, and then it's going through all the loops, and then going through the Pantheon, and then going out of the Pantheon into the return of the HX Stomp. So if I have this pedal off right here, let's cancel that. There we go. So I have this, if I have the effects loop off on the HX Stomp, I'm not getting any signal at all from the front end of the Boss MS3. So essentially I'm just using this to switch on and off certain pedals, and I can incorporate other effects from the MS3 if I wanted to. But if I have the effects loop off, that means this, all this is bypassed. So from there, you're just hearing the amp and the reverb at the end, but nothing else. So if I turn this switch on, which would turn on the Wampler bell, you're still not hearing anything because I don't have the effects loop on. So if I turn that on now, all right, cool. Ever since I've added the Pantheon, the Rats Bane has been sounding a little strange. So I'm not sure if there's like a weird impedance mismatch or a buffer or something that's messing with it. But if we turn on the Rats Bane, this is what this sounds like. Okay, it actually sounds pretty good. And then we have the Wampler Tumnus on loop 1. And this is really just meant for a volume boost and a little bit of hair going into the signal. Cool. So I like the different levels of dirt I can get with these pedals. I'm going to move this camera down just a little bit. Just a little bit there. Maybe you can see that a little bit better. Alright, that's cool. I'm fine with that. I am using my Gristlemancer Telly from Reverend Guitars. And this is a great all-around guitar with a very bitey bridge pickup and then a very smooth neck pickup. And it has a boost switch that I can kind of boost some mid-range and some volume if I want. So all right, cool. So I mean that's basically the rig. We'll talk about the Pantheon here in a second, but essentially, if I want to, I basically just leave the effects loop on all the time, so that way I can just kick in different effects if I want. And you'll see right here, there's a plus symbol on the last switch. So if I turn on my delay, which is on the green button, and then my tremolo is on the blue button right here. The last switch right here is a tap tempo. You can see that the red LED gets faster or slower depending on how fast I tap. And you're going to hear that on the HX Stomp. Okay, so let's go in and let's adjust. I love the switches on the HX Stomp just because all you have to do is just tap and it switches there. So I'm going to change this to a dotted eighth. Let's tap it in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let me go and check on the Facebook feed here. Doctor McFarland is live. I am live. Cool. So that looks good. So if there's anybody watching on Facebook or on YouTube right now, go ahead and leave me a comment in the chat or a question of any kind, and I'll be sure to address those. And I do have a function with Melon app that if you make a comment, I'm saying hello right now. There we go. I can show that on the screen. So Dr. McFarland Studios is hello. So I think that's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So yeah, if anybody wants to chime in or ask some questions about the pedal board, you can go ahead and do that. So I did update the HX Stomp to 3.15, and somehow I broke a nail. That's great. Let me get that off here. All right. One thing I think I saw that you could do is you could stack scenes or something like that, to where if you hit a switch, a scene will come on, and then if you hit it again, another scene will come on, which is great for something that only has 3 switches. So I could have like 2 scenes here and then 2 scenes there, and then switch back and forth in between. But it's kind of a moot point, because if you only have so many blocks on the HX Stomp and the DSP runs out really fast, if you start using all your shimmers and really high DSP reverbs and delays, you're just going to eat up all that DSP super fast and not be able to get everything that you want really in one rig. So you're kind of forced to switch rigs between a few different rigs to get whatever sounds you want. But I like the simple delay. Let's change the delay here. There's a dual delay, which is cool. Let's do dotted eighth and a quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. I can go and adjust the mix of the delays here. High cut, low cut. Maybe I want to make them a little bit darker. So just bring the high cut down to like 4 or 5K. So I've been using this rig at church mainly. When I do play, I kind of go back and forth between like the pedal board, the headrest pedal board, and this board. Because really, once I have my amp set and I have a decent delay and nice reverb sound, which let's listen to the reverb real fast. This is a dynamic room. I can go in and change this to like a plate. Here's a hall. Okay, now the new dynamic stuff, like the shimmer, it takes up a lot of DSP. Right? Hot springs. Okay. And then you got the Glitz, Ganymede, Searchlights, Plateau, and Double Tank. And all these are very high DSP type stuff. So if you want something with a little less DSP, you can easily go. I mean, my tried and true when I had my my Line 6 M series pedals, which is the M13, M9, and M5. I really like the Octo sound, which I think still sounds great. Oh shoot. So that's the thing with these switches. If you touch them, they start changing. Low cut, intensity, the mix, make it a little bit less. And then make sure the tails are on. So that's kind of nice, but it's not a great, like always on reverb. So maybe you want to do like a plate. Something like that. And then once you get the core sound of your amp and whatever effects you want from the HX Stomp, then you can start adding in your pedals. Like I want a little bit of mid-range dirt. And then you want just a little bit of hair. Now you can make this super saturated. If you want, it's a great thing about the tumness. But most of the time I'll keep it, the gain about 12 o'clock. And there is a tumness clone sound in the HX Stomp, so I will be doing a video on that pretty soon. I'm trying to do a video on all these pedals. I may keep this set up. I might sell it because I'm needing to get some studio panels for the new studio, and money has to come from somewhere. So if you add up all this stuff, I mean, it's easily $1,000 to $1,200 just with this alone. So and I have my headrush, stuff. I have my Blue Guitar Amp 1 right here, which is a great unit, and I like using that with my HX Stomp. I mean my HX Effects. So it's not necessary that I have this setup right here, but it is kind of fun. The twiddle knobs and stuff, and that's one thing that you can kind of consider. This kind of setup is if you're in the studio, not everybody knows how to use an amp modeler or a headrush or a Helix or a Kemper or any of that stuff. They just want to see knobs and dial in a few different sounds, and you can kind of show them how to switch between different stuff. But most guys are like, I need some more gain. All right, well, there's a gain knob right there. If you need to adjust the volume, you need to adjust the tone, bass, treble, whatever you want. All the knobs are right there in front of you. You don't have to go diving into different, sorry, the word just left me. Menus. You don't have to go diving into menus. Thank you. And I just dropped my pick. So I hope that makes sense about, why you would want pedals, especially in a studio environment. Now for live, I mean, I know people have been using pedals for a very long, decades at this point. But for live use and getting that consistency night after night, I mean, you really just can't beat digital modeling. Because you just show up to the gig, you plop your Kemper or your Helix or your headrush or your Fractal or whatever you have, down on the stage, you turn it on, and there's the exact same sounds you had at the rehearsal studio or your living room, and you don't have to worry about knobs getting bumped or turned, and all your settings change on the way to the gig. Or maybe your kid finds your board and they start turning knobs, and now you can't remember where any of it was, for your perfect sound. So that is one drawback to using pedals. Another drawback is cables. Now, as well as you think you can make a cable, they will fail eventually, unless you just have them super tight, or they won't fail if you keep them loose and keep them dressed really nice on the board. But if you get really sloppy and you start keeping all your cables really tight, and there's a lot of tension on the connection joints there, they do have a tendency to either the solder will just break. Maybe you got a cold solder joint and it just loosens over time, or anything, any kind of thing could go wrong. So that's another plus for digital modeling. And any of the Line 6 stuff, the headrush, Fractal, Kemper, Quad Cortex, whatever fancies your musical palette, it's just very consistent, very reliable, and all that stuff. So the Bossymus 3 is obviously a beast. But one thing I found that you really can't do with the Bossymus 3 is update it. They kind of just gave you what they gave you, and there's no updates for this thing. And the Bossymus 3 has been out for, years at this point. So I think they just planned for this unit to have all the basic Boss sounds, and they were like, we're done. There's the unit. Go have fun. Don't worry about any updates for this Bossymus 3. Now with the, your modern modeler, like any of the Line 6, headrush, all the, go down the list, they are very good at keeping updates going and giving you more amps, more effects, more everything over the years. But But sometimes you just buy something once and it just works, and that's all the sounds you're going to get. I know some of the really old digital stuff from like the 90s and early 2000s, they never got any updates at all. It's just you buy the product and that's it. So let's check out the Pantheon real fast. I will do a separate video on this, but let's just test it out so you can hear it. So this has a basic volume, gain, bass, and treble. And then the left side also has a volume, gain, bass, and treble. And then there's a shared presence knob in the middle to kind of act like the presence knob on a amplifier. Yeah, Gino, this highlight a comment here since I've never done it before. Bam. Gino says, I love my MS3. Great unit. It really is. I mean, if you like Boss effects, then the MS3 is great. And especially if you're trying to find it used on the market. I think I bought mine for around $250. I mean, my gosh, the amount of effects you have in here. I mean, that's basically these three pedals, same price for the MS3 on the used market. I think even brand new was like $399 possibly. So it's just crazy insane all the stuff you can do. And I know this is an overview of the pedal board. I'll definitely go back and do more videos on each individual pedal. And there's just so much you can do with the MS3 as far as setting up effects, setting up your presets, controlling other units. A lot of people like using the Blue Guitar Amp 1 with the MS3 right here, because the MS3 can send PC and CC messages, and you're able to change channels on the MIDI equipped amplifier. You can change the gain structure on the amp if it has that functionality. It's just really cool stuff. So for as cheap as these are, I may end up just keeping the MS3 just to have it, because even without all the other stuff, even if you just had this one unit and a basic amp, you could show up to any gig and you can have all your tones, right? Your feet. It just takes a normal one spot power supply if you want to power it with that, and it's pretty much a no-brainer unit right there. So yeah, it's great for the studio because you can dial in like a tube screamer, like a Marshall type overdrive, maybe a delay, maybe a tremolo or a reverb or whatever you want. So it's really cool. I talked about that earlier in the stream, but I will gladly talk about it again. So Vapor Trail said, did you connect HX Stomp and MS3 via send and return? So what I didn't do the full-on 4 cable method. What I did is I plugged my guitar into the input here. Then I take the send of the effects loop and go to the input of the MS3. Then all these pedals plus the Pantheon are either in the loops or the output of the MS3. And then the output of the Pantheon is going to the return over here. So let me save this real fast. And if I turn off the effects loop on the HX, you're not going to hear anything from here. So if I turn on the Pantheon, it's still clean because this is connected to the MS3, and the MS3 is technically bypassed right now. So if I turn this back on, turn up the volume. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Some people do like using the 4 cable method, or they'll even take the Stomp and put it in one of the loops on the MS3. So essentially you would go guitar into the input, and then maybe have 2 pedals in the loop of, loop 1 and 2, then the HX Stomp in loop 3, and the Stomp is going to act as your amplifier and all that stuff. and then you would go output of the MS3 to your amp, PA, FR speaker, whatever you want. Okay. Now, right now, I am using the Focusrite 18i8 to go into, what you're hearing right now. Kyle Adams, what? Kyle Jr. doing, sir? Is he the coolest Kyle ever? Yeah, so we recently had a new baby in the house, and his middle name is Kyle. So my Kyle Adams is like, what's up, dog? What's this other Kyle doing in your life? I'm like, hey, man, my wife named him. Don't ask me. Don't ask me, man. But yeah, he's doing good. And he was asking via Facebook. No, he was on YouTube. Music Freak said, would the Boss Katana be considered a modeling amp, as it has pretty much all the features that one of the boards have with a hacked editor? Yes, I would say it's definitely there's definitely a lot of parts to it that are modeled. I know the effects are modeled for sure. They're definitely not analog effects. But I feel like the dirt, like the different amp channels are analog to some extent. But there's obviously always going to be a little bit of digital in there with these really cheap amps. Nothing like this. Like the Blue Guitar Amp 1 is all analog. Okay, everything about it is analog. So this was different than that, but it's also more expensive. So I saw that Line 6 came out with a Catalyst, which is it's basically a Boss Katana knockoff. It has the same kind of technology. It's doing very similar stuff to all that. Kyle Adams. I'm happy to share the name with him. Yeah, man. Exactly. Francis is here. He says, my mic is a little hot. Well, let me turn that down just a little bit. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. All right, thanks for that. I'm using the Melon app to stream, and I'm able to actually highlight chat comments on the screen here, which is really cool. So I like that feature. Yeah, I appreciate that. Let me know what my guitar is here. Because I can turn that down too if I need to. Now, I know the Pantheon is not in the loop of the MS3, so it technically can't be programmed into a preset. I'd always have to have, I just tap dance and just turn it on and off whenever I want it. But I really think this board is best used for the studio because you have all the knobs readily available. You don't really have to do a lot of menu diving to adjust stuff. And if the client or the player, that's recording in my studio says, hey, I want a shimmer sound or this kind of sound, I can just go over, turn a few knobs for them. Be like, okay, let's go down here. Let's click on reverb. Let's do a mono thing. And let's do like the plateau, which is one of the really cool Line 6 reverbs. Trying to mix up a little bit. I'm going to turn down the HX Stomp because Francis says it's peaking a little. I can go to here. Let's check. Check, check, check. Yeah. pretty good for now. It says auto adjust mic volume. Toggle this if you want to control volume with a slider. Slider will appear below. Ooh. Oh, cool. Look at that. Okay, I see. So if it's auto adjusting, then it should be okay. But just let me know. Gino says, sounds good through my headphones. Yeah, I mean this is a recording setup. I mean, it should sound great into your interface, into a FRFR speaker, and also into the PA at your local dive bar. This Stomp is made to go direct. If you're trying to play it through the front end of an amplifier, it's not going to give you the results that you want. Okay, it's just not. It's not going to do it. Now, what's cool about this, check this out. I can turn this off, and now I can touch and hold. I'm going to say I'm going to merge this block. So now I've just assigned 2 effects to one switch, which is great because I can have this on, or I can have it off and just play normal. Then hit the switch. So it kind of goes into this instant, like ambient kind of thing. The sweep echo, my gosh, I use this all the time when I had the green DL4 delay pedal. Let's do a little tap tempo. Pretty cool stuff. Let's check out the reverse delay. And then when I'm done, let's go ahead and save this. I can just hit that one switch and it turns off both effects. So I do like a lot of things about Line 6, and that's one of them. It's just the workflow part. The Pantheon is a good overall pedal. To me, both sides are kind of in the same ballpark. I wish that the right side was more of like a tube screamer type sound, and then the left side was more of like or just the same as what it is. But when you stack the two, I feel like you don't get the same like stackable. I mean, it sounds good stacked. I mean, here's the right side. Yeah, I think it's better used just keeping it independent of each other. Now, another thing that I had was pretty much doing before I added the Pantheon, since the Pantheon is hitting the output and not in a loop, I can't really use like delays, reverbs, or any other modulation effects that would usually come after loop 3, after the Ratsbane, because then all that wet effects would be going into the dirt of the Pantheon, and I don't like the sound of wet effects in front of a dirty amp or dirty pedals. So it kind of hindered me by not not utilizing the modulation, delay, and reverb of the MS3. But like I said, I could get rid of all this stuff and just use the MS3. And it's a great just form factor for a very quick and dirty, hey, here's some effects at my feet. I got an amplifier behind me. And I think it just works really good. And I could just get rid of the pedals and the Pantheon and just have the MS3 and the HX Stomp. Or I could get like a Nux Studio One pedal, which is basically a power amp and an IR loader in a box there. And I could stick that right here on the end. But then I would have like all this open space up here, which I don't like. If you're going to have a pedal board, I like to fill up the whole thing. Which is bad sometimes because you end up buying things that you don't really need. But that's just the way it is. So let me know what other things you guys would like to talk about. Because that's pretty much the board. I mean, this is the board right here. Now, I don't have... This is the L6 from Mission Engineering. And I've had this for probably 8 or 9 years now. I actually toured Europe with this pedal at the time when I was using my Line 6 M5. And I would mainly use it for like volume swells and, wall pedal stuff. And all I have to do is just make a cable that goes from the expression out all the way over to here. And that would allow me to affect maybe the mix of the delay or reverb. I can do wall stuff if I wanted to put a wall pedal over here. Which is cool about having the MS3 in the loop. I can have effects before the MS3, like in kind of wall, phase, flange, something like that. Let's go down here. So I'm going to bring in a wall pedal. It's going to be mono. Let's just do the Phasel. I don't know what it is. I don't know. There's that. So yeah, so I don't have a cable hooked up right now, but otherwise I would definitely be using that for a Wow Chicka Wow Wow sound. If I had, which I don't, I'm looking for another cable that has like a right angle on it, but I'm using them currently. So otherwise I would just go out of here, right angle into here, and that would allow me to control this with the pedal. So I'm going to bypass that for now, or let's just I'll actually keep it in the rig, and I'll work on getting a cable hooked up to that sometime here soon. Uh-oh, Elizabeth's in the house. She was on the other night when I was streaming with my daughter, trying out the Melon app, which is a desktop or a browser-based streaming option for all you streamers out there. Be like, what's up? There she is. She has her picture. Sweet. I've known Elizabeth for a very long time. I want to say like 2004, 2005, somewhere in there. It's been a long time. What's up, girl? Elizabeth, I'm talking about my pedal board right now. So if you have any questions, leave a comment in the chat and let me know what you think. Let's listen to the left side of the Pantheon. Let me look up real fast. Let's look up Pantheon Wampler. This is the Pantheon Deluxe pedal. And we're going to try and find a description here. because I can't remember what the left side and the right side are based off of. So this is a 2-channel of organic, creamy gain, gritty overdrive, or heavy distortion while retaining Wampler's famous ease of use and flexibility. Scooby-Doo-Boo. Channel 1, which is, I think, this side, delivers a classic blues breaker tone. And channel 2 is a recreation of the original Pantheon, a similar circuit to the blues breaker, but with a modern boutique feel. Independent side-mounted voicing and gain level switches allow you to further shape your tone to perfection. And my wife is up here. Say hello to the live stream.
You're live?
Yeah, we're live. She's hanging out with Tatum up here. So yeah, right side is the blues breaker, and then the left side is a basically a recreation of the original Pantheon pedal here. So let's check out what the difference is between these two. And then I think we're going on almost an hour here, so we'll probably call it quits in a bit. But I think it sounds good. Aaron Short is in the house. As Francis has said, howdy. The head rush is all around me. I have all kinds of head rushes. But I want to demonstrate this board before I break it apart. Because I may be selling off some stuff. But this is a great studio board. So that way you can adjust all the knobs, get to them quickly. And I am streaming with the Melon app. So I can highlight different comments in the chat there. So here's a clean sound. And once again, I'm using the Archetype Clean, which I really like. Okay, that sounds pretty good overall. Turn up the treble just a bit. So you can definitely get it brighter, or you can get it more mellow sounding. Okay, there you go. Let's keep it about right there. Bill McDonald says hi. Aaron asked, what is, this is Melon. Yeah, so Melon is very much like StreamYard. It is created by the guys of Streamlabs OBS, which is also owned, I learned this week, by Logitech, who makes all the keyboards and mouses and, webcams and all that stuff. The only issue I have with Melon, Aaron, is I can't do multiple camera views, so I can just use one right now, which is fine. So if I want to do like a more of like a conversational thing, I can, and just switch. I could probably switch back and forth between different cameras in real time if I wanted to, but I can't show two at one time. So that's the only thing. I can share my screen. And we can say I'm going to do a window, a Chrome tab. Let's share the Pantheon stuff. So, whoa, there's Pantheon. See that? So now you can see what I see. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So I can show it on the screen, or I can hide it. I am connected. I am currently connected to an audio interface. I'm using my Focusrite 18i8, and I'm going through my Black Hole 2 channel, which is a virtual mixer, and it's being fed by the 11 and 12 outputs of the loopback function of the Focusrite control software. So that's how you're hearing my voice and my guitar at the same time. The problem is I can stream in stereo. Let me go grab another cable real fast. All right, so this is going to be the right output. I'm currently getting my cable here. Something like this. Let's go into input number 2. Like so. Like plug my in-ear monitors back in so I can hear myself. And we should be able to hear one side's a little lower than the other. Okay, here we go. I have the Epoch Cam app on my phone, so I'm able to use it as a webcam. So yeah, the phone is my camera, and I'm using a browser in Google Chrome with the mellonapp.com. So just sign in with your email, and you can do it for free, or you can sign. There's a special for like 6 days. I think there's probably 2 days left where they gave you like a super killer deal. Aaron's asking, is it iOS? You can use it for Windows or Mac. Just like StreamYard, I'm pretty sure. But let me get to a dual delay thing. And I'm going to have to pan these in the Focusrite control. So check this out. Left mix, turn that up. There may be something in the outputs pan. Shoot. Hold on. Go to the output here. Okay. I should be getting stereo, but yeah, I'm doing something. Alright, something's going on. I should be getting a true back and forth kind of thing going on, but it's not. I did it again. That's one bad thing about the capacitance switches, is when you touch it, it does change your focus on what you're editing. So there we go. Turn the mix of these down a little bit. Cool. Okay, let's go here. And let's make sure these are stereo reverbs. Let's do a dynamic plate. And I'm going to tap in the tempo on my MS3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I turn off that switch, it turns off both the delay and the reverb because I have them routed or assigned to the same switch. On switch 3, I do have a tremolo. Let's warm this up by switching to our neck pickup. Now, if I wanted to do this, I could have the switches on here change or turn on and off the switches on the Stomp. I do have a MIDI cable going from the MIDI out to the MIDI in on the 2 units here. So I'm able to do that. I just don't have that set up currently in the presets. But I will definitely be doing a follow-up video after I do a little bit more research and memorize a few of the steps on actually allowing the MS3 to talk to the HX Stomp and communicate with each other and change things on the fly. Especially if you're wanting to like just switch patches. So I could say like this is Doc main rig. This could be like Doc rig with tremolo, Doc rig with delay and reverb, and then Doc rig with some pedals on and some other effects or something crazy, right? Whatever I wanted to do. So I can have both of these on. So I'm going to a jam session / birthday party. Let's say birthday party jam session on Saturday. And I'm probably just going to take this and run it through the effects, or actually the power amp in of my Boss Katana for the stage volume. And I think this would be a really fun little rig. Just have some simple pedal options, a little bit of delay, a little bit of tremolo. And yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. So I really want to listen to this channel 1 here. So it's supposed to be a blues breaker. Sure. I hadn't heard a blues breaker in person, at least in a long time. So I just don't know what one's supposed to sound like, but this sounds pretty decent. Let's crank up the gain a little bit. There are different voicing switches down here and 3 different gain levels on here as well. So let me crank it up to the highest gain level. There's like something going on with the mod. Let's turn the mod off. Yeah, modulation off. high cut. Let's bring that down so we can just roll off some of the high end on those repeats. Okay, so let's just say I like that sound as my main like crunch rhythm sound. I can always go to the bell on like more of like a lower gain setting or the tumness, and I can kick that in front of the Pantheon to give us like a tube screamer-ish kind of effect where we're boosting the mid-range. So okay, here's the tumness. I like it. Gino says, yo man, gotta run. Alright, Gino, have a good night, okay? Thanks for checking out the stream. Elizabeth says it's nice. I guess that means she likes it. I mean, that's cool. Let's check out the left side, which is more of like the Pantheon sound. Okay, so I think the channel 1 definitely has a little bit more upper bite in the mid range. Cool. The pedal does have separate ins and outs on the top, so I could, if I wanted to, I could get rid of the tumness and the rat's bane, move the bell over, and then put the Pantheon right here. Which I feel like I did try to do, but yeah, this didn't fit in this hole right here, so therefore I didn't do that. You know, this is really playing pedal Tetris right now. She digs the music. That's great. I'm so happy. Okay. Yeah, because I think you need something very mid-rangey to get that tube screamer effect, and then you can kick it in front of like a blues breaker or a more of a mid-range level kind of sound like the Pantheon is. Let's check this out. Let's see what the bass does. Alright, I'm going to end this with a, see what session I did this in. I did this in Mix Bus, and it's the beginnings of a little backing track I'm going to be releasing on the website here soon. So let's try this here. Let's try this. if it opens. Should open. All right. So we have some drums, some bass, some guitar. So let's just play this loop and let's share my screen because I can. Screen, window, share. There we go. So there's that. I have different options as far as moving the pedals and the screen around like so, which is cool. I could do something like this. Still kind of getting used to the Melon app. But let me know what you think about this, and I can turn the volume down as well. I need to open up Superior Drummer and make sure the drums are loaded, because otherwise this is going to take a second for like the snares and kicks and cymbals to load up. But if you like this backing track, be sure to go to the website. I should have it up by the end of the week. And I'm trying to get different genres of backing tracks. So I'm going to have blues, country, jazz. This is going to be in the pop and rock category. Kind of the dramatic, you know, that kind of stuff. Pop and rock. All right, here we go. There's that. So we're gonna jam this out. So a lot of the sounds that you hear in this mix, let me go to guitar 2. So that was done with the new Line 6 shimmer that they added in the 3.15 update. Thanks, Elizabeth, for liking the song. Pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I like that shimmer sound. And I like the Stomp, but I do already have the HX effects. And I feel like without having to use an amp and use the Blue Guitar Amp 1 for my my HX rig, I don't have to take up DSP by using an amp in a cab. So that is an option for selling the HX Stomp and just keeping the MS3, selling all the other pedals, and just going back to my HX effects and Blue Guitar Amp 1 setup. And then I still have all my headrush stuff for other studio and live needs. So if I need Line 6 effects, I have everything I need in the HX effects. And I don't need the Stomp for that. But it's a cool sound. And then this one, I can't remember what I used for this. But if you didn't know what it was, you're like, hey, that's a great sounding amp. And I'm like, yes, it is. It does sound great. So that's the backing track. If you want to check it out, it'll be on my website later this week. I feel like I need to add another section. Otherwise, it's just kind of too repetitive. So maybe like every 8 times through, or maybe 4 times through the verse, I can do 2 to 4 times through a chorus, and then just go back and forth between there. Kind of like an elevated jam track kind of thing. But it's only going to be available on my website. And I'll probably do a video of just me jamming over it, so you can kind of hear what it is. But yeah, if you want to access that, it'll be on my website. You can access all the backing tracks I have, either for a one-time fee of you get all the genres, or you can just pay for each individual genre as they come out. But you definitely save money by buying the bundle in that regard. So any questions, folks? Any questions at all? I feel like I need to go downstairs and hold a baby for a while so my wife can not pull her hair out. But I have enjoyed our time together. And thanks for hanging out with me tonight and looking over my somewhat temporary pedal board right here, which I think is very powerful. It has a lot of great sounds in it. But, with my headrush stuff that I have available in my Blue Guitar Amp 1 and HX effects, I just don't need individual pedals to do what I do here in the studio, or even just to play, once or twice a month at at church. So that's just this is how it is when you're a middle-aged man with a full-time job and a family and a depleting level of money in your bank account because you buy different pedals. So that's the way it is, folks. Elizabeth says, go hold a baby. I'm about to go hold that baby. And Padded Pedal Room, which is Francis, by the way. Go help with the baby. Catch you later, Doc. All right, guys. I also wanted another excuse just to try out the Melon amp and see how it worked in a real live stream situation and highlighting comments and all that, which I think is really fun. And it's very engaging for the audience as well to see your name pop up on the screen and be like, hey, that's cool. Which it is cool. It's really neat. So we're going to hide that and go back to my full-size pedal board view. I can do that kind of thing, that kind of thing. I wonder if I had another camera set up, I could just switch between different cameras. That would be neat. Because I can definitely share multiple screens, but can I share multiple cameras? That'd be sick. I need to figure that out. So, all right, guys. Y'all have a great night, and love to all of you. And I am Doctor McFarland. I will see you in the next video. Keep rocking.